What does it do, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Scotty Says. I am your host. And I tell you what, there is nothing better than September baseball from baseball heaven. The Cardinals making historic moves once again in September. Remember last September, the Redbirds ran off a 17-game historic September winning streak to propel them into the postseason. And this September, in the deuce, here we are yet again with another historic September. Do you remember? Right now, we are watching history being made just about each and every game. So there's a lot to get to. Let's get the ball rolling, shall we? Now, first of all, I have been in the forefront. I am the charter member of the the Pooh Bear Pujols One More Year Club. I've been calling for one more year back before the All-Star break, when it looked like it would be nearly impossible for the Pooh Bear to reach that magical milestone, the 700 Club. But now, after the All-Star break, why, Albert has gone on a tear, looking like his old self, La Machine. Back at it, he feels rejuvenated. The magic is back, and now Albert Pujols sits just 3 home runs away from the 700 Club, that rarefied air where only Bonds, Hank Aaron, and Babe Ruth have been able to achieve. And so, I'm happy to say Albert has passed A-Rod and is now in sole possession of 4th place all time on the home run list. And I can't help but wonder, just imagine if Pujols would have stayed in St. Louis for his whole career. If he had stayed in St. Louis his whole career, he may very well have eclipsed all of the others in the home run race. But let's deal with the reality at hand, shall we? Now, Albert only needs 3 more to get to the 700 Club. And I am still leading the bandwagon for one more year if he's up for it. Because next year he can pass the babe. And Arenado last week called for the Pooh Bear to return next year. He says he's playing too well. He's not just hanging on, he's making a contribution, winning games. The leadership that he's providing, it's been special. And so now Arenado has joined me in the One More Year Club. And I don't know, maybe the Pooh Bear really wants to hang it up after this season. And if so, then you cannot fault the man for that, because he's going out like a champion, and that's what he wants. One more ring, and that's what I want. But what I recommend that the St. Louis Cardinals do is offer Albert Pujols a 1-year deal next year for 23. Offer him 1 more year, and then if he decides to decline the offer, you've done your part, what you needed to do. But I have a sneaking suspicion you offer him that 1 more year, he just very well might take it. Either way, do the right thing, Redbirds, and offer him the year and let the ball be in his court as to whether or not he wants to accept it. Now, let's get caught up with all the action. Just in the last week or 10 days, there's been so much to report. I'm pleased to say that the old stinker, DeYoung, has finally been benched yet again. He stinks. And maybe this time they get it. Maybe now Mo and Ollie understand he's not the guy. and they finally turned the page. And it looks like what they're going to do from this point forward is leave Tommy Edman at short, and I do like Tommy Edman. And then at second base, you've got Donovan, and I like Donovan, with Gorman as his backup. And then you've got those twin pillars on the corners, Arenado and Goldy, doing their thing. And that's a great infield. Since August 1st, the Cardinals have the best record in all of Major League Baseball as of this recording. 30-11, even better than the best team money can buy, the Los Angeles Dodgers. And at 8 games up over Milwaukee, they clearly seem to be in the driver's seat, but there's still one more carrot out there. If they can catch the Mets/Braves, they would get the second slot in the playoffs, which grants them a bye for that first round. So that remains to be seen if they can push all the way past those teams in the East for that bye playoff slot. But let's go back a little bit in time. First, Albert tied a whole rod at 696. And I'm glad to see that Ali Mo has finally backed off of this nonsense about only letting the Pooh Bear start against lefties. Give the man his props, his respect due. He can hit anybody. So now he's in the starting lineup, rightfully so, no matter who's on the mound. And off of a right-handed pitcher, he smashed 696 and tied a whole rod. Next day, the very next day, Albert moved into sole possession of 4th place all-time on the home run list by hitting a 9th inning, 2-run game-winning home run. And the Cards win. And so it's that combination of history and winning and history. It's just been beautiful to behold. And now he's only 3 away from the magical 700 club. It's been amazing. It's been unbelievable. It's been extraordinary. Now, I want to give out a couple of shout-outs. I'm going to give a shout-out to Corey Dickerson because the man was just plain awful for the first half of the season, and he has turned his season around by going on an amazing hitting streak. And at one point he went 10 for 10, which tied a record. And he really pulled his season up out of the ashes, and now he's become viable again. So shout out Corey Dickerson. Albert Pujols is not chasing 700, he says. He's just contributing to the winning culture. But as chairman of the board of the One More Year Club, I can't help but root for him. And I know that 700 would be special for him. And next year, if he so chooses to come back, he will pass Babe Ruth. Not just the Pooh Bear, though. Yadi and Waino making history. Their last start was number 325, the most by a battery all time. 325 starts for Yadier Molina and Adam Wainwright. And of those 325 starts, 213 of them have been victories. And now Waino is sitting on 195 wins, so he's getting close to that magical 200 number. 200 wins for a starting pitcher. Goldy has cooled off in the Triple Crown race. Yet another piece of history. There hasn't been a Triple Crown winner in 85 years in the National League since 1937, I believe, and it was a Cardinal. That history, it was Ducky Medwick back in the 30s. the last time a National League ball player won the Triple Crown. And Goldy, he's still got a shot at it, but he's going to have to pick it up in this last month of the season. He started to tail off just a little bit. But as he tails just a bit, look at Arenado. Arenado heating up. His batting average is now over 300. He's slugging. And he just hit his 298th home run. Two more this season. And he will join only Eddie Matthews and Mike Schmidt as Major League third basemen who hit 300 or more home runs in their first 10 years. A nice average of 30 per year. And he's won a Gold Glove every year he's been in the league. And that will not change, I don't believe, this year. So you see, Arenado is on a Hall of Fame trajectory. It was really a special dealing by Mozeliak to pull Goldy from Arizona, and then the next year, Arenado from Colorado. And now you've got Hall of Fame pillars at the corners. Quintana and Montgomery have solidified the pitching staff, the starting pitching rotation now. Those two left-handers have been special since the trade deadline when they came over. Now with Quintana and with Montgomery, you have Waino and Mikolas. You've got a nice rotation. We don't know what will happen with Flaherty and Matz and the others, but with those four, you can go deep in the playoffs. Then there's the bullpen, and now that's starting to solidify. I believe Ali Mo must be subscribers to my channel. They must have been listening, because now you're starting to see continuity there out of the bullpen. It looks like Hicks is going to be your seventh inning guy. Gallegos is going to be your eighth inning guy. And as I called for, Helsley is your closer. And then you've got Palante that you can use for long relief or early on if you need to go to the pen. But now you've got continuity out of the bullpen to go with strong starting pitching. Then you've got the young guys. I like Nootbaar grinding it up. I like Donovan. And Donovan, let me give Donovan a little bit of credit. Donovan is the only rookie in Cardinals history, we're talking over 100 years now, the only rookie to have played at 6 different positions 50 or more innings. 50 or more innings at 6 different positions for the Cardinals rookie Donovan. And he is now a staple in the starting lineup. And now you see him at second base. But you can move him all around the diamond. And they have done so. And now, Albert with 2,200 RBIs, only 14 behind the Babe for second place all time. Hank Aaron, of course, 2297, the Babe 2214, and now Albert at 2200. And that is your hierarchy on the all-time RBI list. Not to mention, he's only now 17 behind the Babe for third on the all-time home run list. So one more year would be beautiful, but even this year, he can eclipse 700, and that is a magical mark. And so there are the injuries. And Carlson appears to be out for now, or I don't know. Maybe he's not coming back. We'll see. We never saw Yepes again. He went away with a forearm injury, never to return. But despite all that, the Birds are rolling. And the Dodgers, they are on the verge of becoming the Atlanta Braves. Remember, Atlanta went, I don't know how many, 12 years or whatever it was, winning the division and all those playoff appearances and all those division wins, and they only got one World Series, 1 or 2. the Dodgers are in that same boat now. They're winning. They win 100+ games every year. They're consistently winning the division every year. They're Big Blue, the best team money can buy, and yet only got one championship to show for all those recent wins. So the Dodgers need, more than anything else, they need a ring because they're on the verge of becoming Atlanta West. Meanwhile, never forget, other than the Yankees, the St. Louis Cardinals have the most world championships in baseball history still. And we're looking for another one this year. We're looking for number 12. So, you know we will be covering it as we run down the stretch to the finish line. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know what you're thinking, and make sure you throw me one of these. Yeah, man. And until the next time, which won't be too long from this time, one love. Go Redbirds.